Welcome to Wednesday with a Legacy Mentor. Stephen here from Living Legacy Life, the younger, older, elder continuum about aging and finding ways in which to shape and share a legacy. On these Wednesday videos, what I do is I draw some cards that I have made up for myself to prompt me about where I'm going and what it is that I want to offer. And I do it in a way that I hope benefits you, is that you can use these prompts and or adapt what it is that I'm doing for yourself. And I do it also as a way in which to, yes, this is what I've done, this is where I'm going, and I can come back and look at these videos that I'm creating on Wednesdays and sort of see them as a content asset moving forward. So just as a reminder, last week was the letter J, juniper, and I was thinking about jigsaws, and I was thinking also about joy and justice, words like that. And I was thinking about how am I going to bring those into the week ahead, and I remembered also this intergenerational conversation. And I started actually shooting some videos and writing about that, and it has been glorious to have that opportunity to have those J prompts for myself. So I would certainly encourage you to drop back and take a look at the J video of last week. And it will be popping up somewhere around here as well. Going to share the letter Y today. The cards that I drew had the Y, and that is for yew, a tree, the yew tree. And then I picked up determine and who in, and I'll explain what that's all about. If you're new here, if you've been watching other videos, let's just keep on rolling along here. And I would encourage you to put comments down below, insights that you might have, yays or nays, what might you continue, stop, start because of these prompts. So let's take a look at the Y, the letter Y. And that letter sort of has a significance around transformation and perseverance. And I've had a little bit of that over the last week, but knowing I'm going into this week ahead, transformation and perseverance are key, because I gave myself until the end of February to sort of doodle around, play with my jigsaw, find my joy, justice, and sort of jump into February with a map and a plan, and which I have created, and I'll share a little bit with you at the end of the video here. And the Yew Tree, Y-E-W, I brought that forward because it's a tree that is about seeing both sides of the story. And I kind of like that is because the letter Y with its trunk, so to speak, sort of suggests, and I always remember it from a stick point of view, there's a yes and or no, but if you look at the other end, this is what's called Poe. Edward de Bono, who created lateral thinking, if you jump back into his work, suggested that Poe was sort of between yes and no. Between yes and no is the Poe, and I like the Y. It reminds me of that. And before I jump into the perseverance and the transformation, I always look at, is this a yes, is this a no, or is this a Poe, suppose, propose, kind of words, potential. And also what goes with this letter Y are the following words, yearn, yield, years and yards together, and I'll explain why, younger, and I've already mentioned yes. So I'm going to work backwards through that because I've already started with the yes and this notion of the shape of the Y. I don't always say yes right away. There's times where I'll go into that Poe, and there are times now, especially, I'm saying no to things. Like I've adopted the no pants approach to my work. In other words, if I don't have to put my pants on, in other words, I'm wearing my shorts and I can stay at home working and interacting through video and that, then that's what I'm going to do. And so yes is there, and I attempt to lean into yes when I can, but sometimes that no is important, and I would certainly challenge you to think about that, all right? Do you need to say yes to that new subscription for something? Do you need to say yes to go out to that event? Think about it. Just see where it takes you. The other one would be this notion of younger, because of younger, older, elder, but young at heart. I certainly think that I'm young at heart, and there are days when I certainly do things I go, oh yeah, I can do that, and they go, oh, hang on a minute, back that up just a little bit. You're not going to start running down the road. Even fast walking, I've got to slow that down just a little bit. But I'm still young at heart, and I have that curiosity that I'm diving into and looking at all of the possibilities and proposing things and suppose I could do this and just playing with that to see where it might take me. The years and yards, I think of the years as time, the yards as place and space. So the years are starting to shorten up for me. I get that in terms of what I'll be able to do and how far I'll be able to go, the yards. So I'm just thinking about years and yards and putting it together and going, okay, where am I? What is it that I want to say yes to in that? And where is my young at heart going to really come to the foreground because of it? The other one is yield. I thought this was a kind of an interesting one that I thought this one through. Yield is in the production of something, the yield from the field, from the farming. It's also yield as in the slow down. And so slow down, productivity, performance, it's an interesting word to sort of bring into the creation of content and assets, which I'm doing. Videos like this, books that I'm writing, courses I might do, see how that all goes. So what yield am I bringing forth and sharing through my legacy? It's a great question to ask yourself. And the other one is yearn. I've always liked that one because it always reminded me, okay, if I want to earn something, I have to have a yearning for it. And it was just another way to remind myself and sort of it felt as though there was a little bit more heart about I'm yearn for it. And I lean into it and see where it might take me. So that's the yearn aspect of it. So yes, younger, young at heart, years and yards, yield and yearn to go with the letter Y. The single word that came forth was determine. And I went, oh, wow, this is kind of interesting. Yes, determine what I would like to have unfold for myself. Determine what is it that my audience is looking for. To determine it, assess, review, evaluate. These words sort of came to mind. It's sort of finding the worth of something from my perspective and from the perspective of those that I'm hoping to help out in terms of living legacy life, these younger, older elders. But in here, there was the importance of making a decision. Is this worth doing? That's a decision. Is this worth doing? Is writing this book worth doing? Is creating this course worth doing? Is it worth doing? And also, is this worth being? And that's where I've been sitting in my rocking chair by the window sometimes, just doodling away and playing with my whiteboard and my pads and just sort of seeing where I'm going. And that was that jigsaw of last week, trying to figure out what pieces are going to go where to play with. So drawing this determine was kind of a fun one because these last couple of days here before I go into March, I have to determine what path, what map I'm going to use to really get going. And I was even on my walk today thinking, I got to get a few of those books done. I've been playing with them. I've outlined them, but I got to get them done. So I have to turn that yearning to have myself published again into something that actually happens. So that was just an example for me. But down below, what's the value of the word determine for you? What is it that you have to determine for the next week, for example? Put it down below so we can learn together. I'd love to hear what's going on. Maybe I can put my 2 toonies worth in, just like with this video, with your comments. Put your two toonies if you're from Canada or whatever currency you're working with. Put a bit of currency, some current information, some insights into the video. The phrase card that came forward was "who in?" And I just had to have a chuckle because the way that I look at "who in" is, who am I to be doing it with whom? And it sort of goes back to this whole, where am I going? Because if I'm going to go through this transformation and persevere going through this transformation that I'm setting in front of myself, I have to understand, who am I? And I've been playing with a diagram, a model that I created 30 some years ago and used in my teaching, and I'll actually be publishing it here soon. Currently, it's called a four-leaf clover, but I may shift the name of it. But it's just the way in which to prompt my understanding of the importance and satisfaction I line up with leisure recreation as one, another one is health and wellness, another is job and work, and another is philanthropy and volunteerism. So those are like the four wings of the butterfly, or the four aspects of the clover. So look for that one. That'll be coming out soon. But what that did was it reminded me I have to keep having some conversations with myself, as I would encourage you to have conversations with yourself about where you're going. And so ask yourself, who am I to be doing it with whom? It's a great question. I've asked it over the years, and journals, I could go into my journals and find that. Some of my books have brought out, well, these are tools and techniques that have helped me to figure out who am I, and I share them with others. So take that to heart and see what happens. The who in question. A couple of things that are going to be unfolding for me, just like I would encourage you, if you're looking and listening to these prompts, what might that put in your path for the next week or month? And I realized that I truly got to get in there and do a revamp on my website, okay? And if you don't have a website linked with Legacy, maybe ask yourself, do you need it? Or can you set up a YouTube channel and use that format? There's different ways in which you can set that up. You could set up on a social media account, and there's pros and cons for all of that. And maybe someday we'll have a chat about all of that aspect of social media, transmedia. So we'll see how that goes. But I have to revamp my website, sort of a landing place, because I'm going to get my blog up and going. What I'm thinking about doing is putting out at least 2 blog entries over the course of a month, maybe more, on the new moon and full moon. And just as a way to remind myself to prepare those blogs. But there may be some how-tos in between, so we'll see how it goes. But one of the things that I've been working on is trying to figure out the creation of a category of one direct response, point of view marketing approach. Category of one. I'm attempting to find a way in which to create something that I can sort of lead out into being for the world with the planet from the whole. And I'm getting closer and closer every day. And just at the end here, I'm just going to share an update of where I'm going off my little whiteboard that I have. And the direct response aspect is how to place in it asking you to do things like, could you watch more videos on the channel? So you leave a footprint of reading and watching on this channel. That really helps me with the algorithm. That's a call to action. Another one might be is go over to the website and go to the store and look at the different books that are available. That's a call to action. So even in your own legacy, inviting people to get involved, there's a call to action of your recipients, of your contributors, your supporters, asking people to like what you're doing, comment, this kind of idea. So that's what I mean by direct response. And the point of view is, that's my point of view that I'm placing in front of you for your consideration. And that's going to become obvious on this whiteboard, because using a phrase like because, be the cause of something, and it'll become more evident when I show you the whiteboard. The other thing that I've got to do is also remember, where's my accountability and responsibility? I have accountability for my legacy, and I have the responsibility to do certain things. Now, I could spend my days scrolling, or I can really figure out what it is that I want to share, shape and share as my legacy. So I'm going back in to really think through some of that. And I believe that's a really good prompt for yourself to sort of think where that might take you. I mentioned I was going to share with you my little whiteboard. I have this whiteboard that I work with, and I just doodle on it as I'm looking at things to come to the foreground, things to think about. And I'm just trying to line it up so you can sort of see. This is the current one. You can always pause if you want, but I'm just going to read it to you so that you get a sense of what I'm thinking. So for me, where I'm going now in terms of writing the books and preparing the courses and the materials and sharing my legacy to encourage you to shape and share your legacy is that what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be helping agers or those aging olders who see themselves as misfits, rebels, instigators, because I enjoy interacting with those who consider themselves misfits, rebels, instigators, just slightly out there. I know that I am, and I did it and really played with it in my academic life, and I kept pushing boundaries everywhere. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't, and hey, that's okay. And so I'm just going to say is if you have that misfit rebel instigator, you're in your 60s and you're watching this, hey, come on over, comment. Let's have a chat, see what we can do. You might be able to help me to actually better what it is that I'm doing. So I would certainly appreciate that. And of these olders, these misfits, rebels, and instigators, it's about them seeking a peace of mind and heart in being present. There's that phrase about, peace of mind, just sort of, there's like a sigh that goes with it. Yeah. I have my home. I found my hearth where I can sort of step into the day because I found my home. So it's the peace of mind and heart, so the mental and the emotional aspects about being present and not sort of being distracted and taking off in all different kinds of directions. The next one is about experiencing hope from a friend who cares. Hi, I'm the friend. I will offer myself is that when we interact, friend could be a mentor or it could be a facilitator, but to sit with the sense of hope that a friend can give you about who cares about what it is that you're doing and living your legacy life. This was something that became really important to me, and it's working with these elders because of this hope. It became sort of a thread that has been going through everything and connecting with other threads and forming strings to cords to ropes, that metaphor I often use. And it's, though I'm a friend, in other words, a reciprocal conversation, who cares, the idea of the kindness aspect of it. I'll be bringing to the foreground a word like hospitality more and more, and you'll be able to pick that one up. But this notion of caring, often what we do is we fall into being careful or careless. Careful, I'm taking care of someone else at my expense. Careless, I'm going to take care of myself and it's okay what others do. In other words, take care of myself, but maybe not help out with others. So caring is finding that balance. Remember that yes, no? Sometimes it's yes, but the no may be just as important for the other person as for you. So think back about what I chatted about earlier as well. And the third thing is sharing, living a story about a legacy you intend to leave. Now, that's really important because a lot of people associate legacy as something to do with when you transition. It's sort of the last little bit you got to take care of, and off you go. Actually, if you get an opportunity to live the legacy you intend to leave, there's something to be said for that. And that's what it is that I'm doing in living my legacy life, is I'm creating the contributions and stories and projects linked with that. So that covers off today's chat with a legacy mentor, visit with a legacy mentor, and brought forward the letter Y, the word determine, who in question, and shared a little bit about my maps, plans, who it is that I want to work with, the aging olders who see themselves as misfits, rebels, instigators. And if that pertains to you, love to hear. Hit some comments down below, and let's continue this conversation. Take a look at the videos that are being prompted here for you now so that you can continue what it is that's available. In particular, grab a journal and watch those shorts that I put out each morning. Those prompts can get you thinking and feeling into your journal that is going to give you that peace of mind and heart in being present. Take care.